imagine. It remains a very, very good FA Cup final. And Hatchin! What a magnificent goal!
Good evening and welcome to All Things Sky Blue match preview against Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday. Before I bring my guests in, just a reminder of where you can find us. It is scrolling down the bottom, but we are on Twitter or X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We are on YouTube. If you do go and watch us, please go and like and subscribe. Or if you listen to us on podcast, please go and rate us 5 stars. We are available on all podcast formats, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and wherever else that you get your podcasts from. This season, we are partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar at the CBS Arena and the Sky Blue Tavern, where I am again tonight. And we're also sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country, but mainly in the Coventry and Warwickshire area. So we will be joined by James from Wednesday Till I Die podcast. But before I do bring James in, I'll bring my co-host as always, Mark. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Stuart. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Well, obviously we played Blackburn last night on Tuesday. We had a 3-0 victory. Were you happy with the performance? Was you happy with the scoreline? Anything that you didn't like about it?
Yeah, it was a really, really good win, a welcome victory. Good to win by 0-0 as well. It's been a long time coming, a clean sheet, so that is definitely a tick in the box. Really good performance. I suppose the only slight negatives you could say, Sakamoto pick up an injury. Hope obviously if he's listening, we'll wish him well. Hope he recovers as quickly as possible. There's a few loose passes I thought in the first half, which could have led to them scoring, but Ben Wilson was alert, so he said one loose pass from Bidwell. But overall, really good performance. Lots of ticks in the boxes, and it was good to bounce back after a really poor performance against Leeds. So, I think hopefully that can start get some momentum going ahead of this Saturday's game at Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I echo your thoughts about Sakamoto. It looked like a nasty gash in the leg. Luckily, a lot of people were saying, well, he's broke his leg, broke his ankle, but luckily it's not a break. So I think he should be bouncing back a little bit quicker than he probably would have done. Obviously, if he'd done anything, I suppose it just depends if he's done how deep it's gone and if he's done any sort of ligament damage, I suppose. But yeah, echo your thoughts on there in getting well soon, Sakamoto. Obviously, Ben Wilson was kept in the sticks. I thought he did really, really well. I don't think he did much wrong. And obviously, he got that clean sheet that we've so desperately needed. How do you think Ben Wilson did?
Yeah, he did really well. I again totally agree with that. He didn't have a lot to do, but what he did do, he did really well. Like that, the interception in the first half where loose pass for Bidwell, and he read the danger, came off his line sprinting, he was positive. He took the ball first in the ban, and that's what I liked about us yesterday. We weren't too nice. We were prepared to mix it a bit with the opposition, which was good to see. He didn't make a lot of saves second half, but what he did do was his handling was good. He's really good. He's also good at running the clock down a little bit when we need to slow the game down. I like that with him. I just felt there was a good understanding between the defence and Wilson. So yeah, good lot of positives there, and I think he should definitely start for Saturday's game.
Well, I think 100% he'll start for Saturday's game. Like I said, he's the only one so far that has kept a clean sheet in the Cup and now in the league as well. So moving on to Saturday, I'll bring in our guest from Wednesday Till I Died pod. James, good evening, James. How are you?
Evening, Stuart. Evening, Mark. Yeah, I'm great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you very much for joining us again. It's much appreciated. Before we get into it, Saturday's game, can you just let us know where we can find you and what you guys do again?
Yeah, so it's the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. So you can find us on all the podcasting platforms, on YouTube as well. Just search for the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. And if you're watching it at WTID Pod on all the socials. And we do an episode every week, Sunday evening, reacting to the weekend's games. So I'm sure if you beat us, I'm sure there'll be quite a few people having to hear what we have to say if we win. I'm not expecting too many Coventry fans wanting to listen to us, to be honest.
Well, look, I've said for a while now that we seem to be playing like we're a bit of a cup side, and we win 1 in 4 games. So we won obviously last night. We beat Blackburn 3-0. Did you watch, first of all, James? Did you see any of the game at all?
I didn't, unfortunately, not last night. But I heard that, as you mentioned, Sakamoto has picked up an injury. So wish him all the best. But not going to lie, there was a little bit of like, oh, thank God he's not playing on Saturday, because he ran the show in this fixture last season on Boxing Day. I'm right in saying he picked up 2 goals, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So obviously, like I said, wish him a speedy recovery. But purely from a Sheffield Wednesday fan perspective, him not playing helps us immensely.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. He did score, obviously, 2 goals. But we played you in the cup as well. It was that time of the year when we had 2 games close together anyway, and then they decided to throw us against you in the cup as well. So.
Yeah, it was Groundhog Day, weren't it?
Us
playing you. We had exactly the same with Fleetwood the season before. Played him in the league and then played him in the FA Cup and then drew in the in that first in the opening game in the FA Cup, should I say? And then had him in a replay. So absolute carbon copy. Playing the team 4 times in one season, which. Not ideal, and we didn't even get the better of you in any of them either. So
I know.
Well,
hopefully that bodes well. Obviously, coming on to the history slightly, the last 6. I did the last 6 because I thought I'd be fair to you, because you won the first one out of the 6. Since then, we've drew 1 and you've lost 4. So our record against Blackburn and yourselves have been quite good of recent form. From last season, has Danny Roll changed anything? Obviously, we'll talk about sort of players coming in and out shortly, but has Danny Roll changed anything? Are you playing this a similar way to what you did last season?
Yeah, well, before that, you talk about the record between the 2 sides. I had a look earlier. 1995 is the last time that we beat you at your place.
Wow!
So we have never beaten you.
I like that.
At the CBS, the now CBS Arena, or the Rico as it was called before. Even when you played at St Andrews, we couldn't even beat you then. So we haven't beat you for a very, very, very long time. Wow. I mentioned that to a few of the guys that listen to the pod, and some of them said, "Yeah, I weren't even born then." So some of the younger listeners.
Wow.
So some people have never seen Sheffield Wednesday win away at Coventry. I know there was obviously a 10-year period where we kind of missed each other for a lot of it, but there's still been a lot of games since 1995 as well. So that's one for you. To answer your question then, in terms of Danny Roll, when he came in, he tried to play some good high pressing football, high intensity, and then at the back end of the season, when we started to pick up all the points, he kind of dropped some of that, and we played, I don't want to say play more direct, but some of his principles were relaxed, and we, some different players, started thriving. Will Volks, who's now at Oxford, of course, and we did start to pick up them points. We started this season and pre-season trying to play very much, again, how he wants us to play, which is on the front foot, like I said, high intensity, pressing, playing out from the back, the modern way of playing football as everyone tries to do now. It worked in the first game of the season, 4-0 against Plymouth. I'm not going to lie, we were on cloud 9. We thought that this is it. What a manager we've got, what a team, and everything else. Since then, wheels have fell off a little bit. I don't even think the wheels were on, but you know what I mean. The football was poor, to say the least. We just couldn't get going. We lost to Sunderland, we lost to Leeds, which you could argue that they're teams that you probably expect to get beat, if we're being perfectly honest. And then the one that really disappointed us was Millwall. We just, it was a 3-0 defeat. It was 0-0 at half time, 3-0 come the final whistle, and we were awful, really poor. That the football that I mentioned earlier, the high pressing, the front foot just wasn't there. I couldn't tell you what the football was that we were trying. However, since then, the football has been a lot better. The performances have been much better. I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen the goal that we conceded against QPR in the, we scored in the 93rd minute to take the lead. At that point, you think you've got all 3 points wrapped up. But no, alas, the most Sunday League goal we'll ever concede, and scramble in the box. And we conceded very late on. Should have won that game. There was the Luton handball incident and red card. We were leading 1-0 at that time. Bit of a dubious red card, but again, came away with nothing. Perhaps should have picked up points. But then we've gone and beat the league leaders, which, that is football at the moment in the Championship. It is, just with your result last night, as we record this on Wednesday, a team that's not won in 5 against a team that's not lost in 5. And lo and behold, the team that's not won a game wins 3-0. It's mad how the Championship is at the moment, but yeah, the football has got a lot better, but we only had like 30% possession against West Brom. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and I don't think that's the way that Danny Röhl wants us to play, but he's got us playing like that, and it's kind of working at the moment. Yeah,
do you think he'll stay that way and give that, because obviously you've got Bristol City tonight, haven't you?
Yes.
As we're recording this, so obviously things can change, injuries or suspensions or whatever else might happen. But do you think that's how he'll play tonight and play on Saturday, all being well?
It all depends on the opposition. Okay. He obviously identified that West Brom like a lot of possession, but don't do a great deal with it. Which was exactly the case at the weekend. I only scored 2 goals, but we were kind of under the caution in the second half. And when you're 2-0 up, I suppose that's going to happen, really. Like I say, it depends on who we come up against. I think it's going to be really interesting on Saturday as to how we do set up, because you've not had the best of starts. I know you had a convincing win last night, which might throw a cat amongst the pigeons a little bit. But you're going to be at home, you'll be at your place. Again, I can't really say how we are going to set up, because there's times where we do like to dominate, like the opening game of the season was a prime example of that. But I think Danny realises as well that there's a lot of good sides in the Championship, and everyone can beat everyone as well. There's been times under Danny Röhl where we've been handed quite a hiding. Already, 2 games this season, a 4-0 and a 3-0 defeat, which, we've only played 7. It's not great. And then you look at last season, there was a 6-0 against Ipswich, a 4-0 against Southampton, another 4-0 against Huddersfield as well. So I think he's realised that, you can't just play this expansive football and leave all these gaps. You've got to be a bit more pragmatic in your approach. And we have seen that in recent days and games as well. I mean, one thing again, which it's a long trip to Bristol. It's an away game again on Saturday. 2 away games in quick succession. So that's another thing that's going to be factored in. He has already spoken about that as well. So he's made a couple of changes tonight. Whether he makes, I would hazard a guess he's going to make a couple of changes again on Saturday as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, obviously your away form at the moment as well isn't the best. You've played 3 and you've lost 3. So, hopefully again, and with that record as well, that you mentioned at the start, with not beating us since at our place since '95. Hopefully that bodes well for us, doesn't it, Mark? Any questions for James at the minute?
I was going to ask about sort of the signings that Sheffield Wednesday made across the summer. Obviously, Ike Ugbo, Kobaki, Valeri, Max Lowe, Jamal Lowe, Chaloba, Ingleson from Hansa Rostock, and a few free transfers. Which of those signs have impressed you the most that you've seen this season?
It's funny you mentioned that. Chaloba has not played 1 minute yet in the league. You've got Ingleson, who won Player of the Month for August, but I think that was just down to the first game of the season against Plymouth, because we didn't win another one since then. And to be fair, he's hardly played either. He's fell out of favour. Max Lowe, if you read the socials, not many of the Wednesday fans have taken to him. Of course, came from Sheffield United as well, which doesn't really help in things. He's you could argue was at fault for the second goal at the weekend against West Brom. So of those that you mentioned, Ike Ugbo as well. I mean, he signed last season on loan and 6 goals in 6 games, absolutely on fire when he first joined us. Everyone was clamouring to sign him on a permanent. We actually spent some money, which is very rare for Sheffield Wednesday these days to actually spend some money on a player. He's flattered to deceive since signing. Looks really poor. I think he played 70 minutes on Saturday, had 9 touches of the ball. I know strikers don't get many touches of the ball, but 9 isn't great, especially when we're leading 2-0 as well. Of those that have done all right, Olaf Kabake, he's one you mentioned there, come from the Polish second tier. How we found him, I have no idea, but he didn't start the season, but he's been given a couple of chances. Not scored yet, came very close against Luton. It would have been an absolute worldie if it had gone in, cutting in on his right foot. Operates on the left-hand side of midfield like a left winger. One of those players that gets you on the edge of your seat. He is a bit raw, which I suppose you could expect coming from the league that he has come from. He's a bit of a step up. He's probably one of those players that, like most confidence play, if he gets an assist or gets a goal under his belt, I'm sure he'll kick on. He hasn't started tonight. He's opted for Masaba, who we signed last summer this evening, but that could just be down to rotation. Kabaki's played quite a bit and he's not finished a game either, so he could be one that could start on Saturday, definitely.
Yeah, obviously been playing with a 4-3-4-3 formation. Is that just the way that Danny Roll plays, or does, like you said before, with personnel, or does he change formation as well?
Well, we started with the back 4, and when you said about kind of he's lost his some of his the way he wants to play. I think that is one of the big changes. He's going to 3 centre backs at the back. We've looked solid when we've done. Oh, I say solid, more solid than before. We were leaking goals for fun. We played that at the back end of last season as well. And with the players that he brought in, I think he wanted to go to a back 4, bringing in Max Lowe, which is a left back. Valerie is more of a conventional right back as opposed to a right wing back. But we needs must sometimes, and the fact that we didn't bring in another centre back and he wants to play out as well was a bit of a concern, because we haven't really got ball playing centre backs other than Deschamps Bernard, who got sent off against Luton, which didn't help. So yeah, he does change it up a little bit, but I think it's more out of necessity than actually wanting to do that. I feel like he sees like a 4-2-3-1 or something similar to that as the formation that he wants to play. But like I said, we look better with 3 centre backs at the moment, and I just want that to continue for a bit. Let's pick up some points. Let's not be in the situation that we were in last season, where we're in the bottom 3 for pretty much all of it. Let's get some points on the board. Let's look like we're that looks like we're a team that's going to stay up this season, and then it can start experimenting and doing exactly what he wants.
Yeah, obviously, Mark's mentioned obviously your new signings. We were linked with Josh Windass, and you managed to keep Josh Windass in the summer. Do you see that as a little bit of a coup for you? And he seems to be the shining light, because whenever I see Sky Sports News and other news, he seems to have scored or assisted. Is he the kind of shining light at the moment?
He's the big game player, to be fair. He's one of those players where it can be quite frustrating. I think he's probably better than what he's shown at Sheffield Wednesday. I think that's probably fair to say. I think he even himself would, perhaps like to have scored more goals. The key with Josh Windass is keeping him fit. We've not had a fit Josh Windass for the full season at all in the 5 seasons that we've had him. But in the times that he does play, like I said, in the big games, he really turns up. he scored 2 goals against Newcastle when we played them in the FA Cup. He scores a really pivotal goal when we played Blackburn Rovers at the back end of last season. You've probably seen that one where he lobs the goalkeeper from 40 yards. Again, Sky Sports love to use that one. He scores in the playoff final when we get promoted in the 123rd minute. Again, scored at the weekend against West Brom. If you've seen Robin van Persie's goal in the World Cup, not quite to that level, but very similar. Ball from back to front. Makes it look really, really simple to lob the goalkeeper with a header from outside the box. But again, that's the sort of things that Windass can do, and it is really frustrating because against Luton, the ball gets played across the box. He's 4 yards out and he hits it straight at the keeper, and the keeper makes a save. So that's what you get with Josh Windass. And I suppose, if he did what he can do in those games that I've mentioned every single week, he probably wouldn't be playing for Sheffield Wednesday. So as much as we can criticise him and stuff like that, if he was that good, he has got that talent. He wouldn't be playing. He'd be playing at a much higher level than what he is at the moment. So yeah, you have to take the rough with the smooth. But yeah, it is good that he's managed to stay. I know he's big friends with Barry Bannon and Liam Palmer, who of course been at Sheffield Wednesday for a long time. He had a lot going on in the summer as well. Got married to his now wife over in the States and stuff. So I think he's quite settled over here. And yeah, we just want a fully fit Windass, and Danny Rill seems to trust in him. Danny Rill really wanted him to stay in the summer. I know they were backwards and forwards with the contract and things like that. And there was time. I think West Brom were also in the running for him as well, and probably were the front runners really to take him. So yeah, it is good that he wants to stay at us. I just want to see more goals from him, really. But like anyone, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we know the inconsistencies this season, don't we, Mark? I mentioned at the start that I feel that we've been so far a cup team. We play well 1 in 5. When we played well on Tuesday night, against Blackburn. I just want to see a little bit more consistency, especially from Haji Wright. I'm not necessarily one of his biggest fans. I do think that he, when he's on that left-hand side, I think he can be lazy. And I think he for all the good that he did, he was a little bit lazy still. He did track back better than he has done. I will admit that. Going forward, there's always been a threat, and I've always said that. But again, against, a Windass or someone, he's going to have to track back, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was interested that James was talking about Windass and about can be a bit frustrating to watch. I think Haji Wright is kind of our version of a Windass, really, because I think he. Can you still hear me? So I think Stuart's line's been a bit dead.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark.
Yeah, cool. Sorry. So I was going to say about he's frustrating, but I think he just needs to run our games, really. I think if he can, I think he played reasonably well yesterday. So I'm hopeful that as we're at home to Sheffield Wednesday, that I think he'll prosper and he'll deliver a good performance. But I do take your point, Stuart. I feel that he doesn't always track back particularly well. He's not the best defensively, but I'll just carry on talking while Stuart comes back. That it's been like Casey Palmer. It's like one good game in 5 for me.
It's funny because I picked out Haji Wright as a player to watch for you. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's scored goals. He's international level as well, playing for the United States. He's one that I think when we come up against you on Saturday, it's one that we've got to be really careful with because I know you mentioned there has one good game in 4, but when he does have a good game, he can really hurt the opposition, and I think we've got to be really careful of him.
I think definitely from a Wednesday point of view, he's got the quality. His finishing is pretty good. If you give him a chance, he scores some really good goals. I mean, obviously, his probably his most memorable goal was last season against Wolves in the FA Cup when we got us to Wembley. So, yeah, I mean, he's got that in his locker. I think he's kind of like a big game player. Yeah, I can see him now. Straight at your back.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. He's got that ability, and he can up his game against the big teams, but he just doesn't do it on a consistent basis. I mean, we had Casey Palmer. Funny enough, he moved to Hull. He was a similar sort of player where he played one good game in 5, and then and then the other 4 games, you just wouldn't do anything at all. But no, Hadji Wright, I mean, statistically last season was very good. He scored about 19 goals. So, he had a good season, but I feel like there's more to come from him. That's just
Mark, to put it into perspective, our leading goal scorer finished with 7 last season. So I will take a Hadji Wright any day of the week if he's only scoring 19 goals a season. These are the levels that we're working at here.
But you were prime time Barcelona towards the end of the season, to be fair.
We were, but give me a 19, 20 goal season striker any day of the week.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I miss much, guys? Or was you still talking about Hadji Wright?
No, I was just waffling on as usual.
Okay, so that's fine. Any questions for us, James?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, just what's your feelings heading into the game? What are the confidence levels like? Because I'm guessing before midweek, you would have been looking at looking at any fixture, really thinking, when is the next win going to come? But to have such a convincing win, and maybe outlook's changed a little bit. Having said that, we were in a similar situation, couldn't buy a win. We got our win at the weekend against the league leaders. It's probably I'm guessing that the optimism levels have gone down last weekend, but then risen a little bit, given what you did last night.
Yeah, for me, they've given me a reason to be cheerful, but I'm still very cautious, just because, like I've mentioned already, at the moment we've been a cup side and we don't know what's going to happen on Saturday is the honest answer. I go into every game at the minute and I don't know what team's going to turn up. Yes, we had a really good win in it, clean sheet, 3 goals, it seems like everything was hunky-dory. It wasn't. The first half, we gave away a few sloppy balls, and against somebody that potentially, like a Josh Windass, for instance, could capitalise on that. So we just need to shore things up. But yeah, definitely, it's from Leeds, 3-0 losing at Leeds, which anybody can lose 3-0, but it's the manner that you lose. And it's not the first time. That's been very... that's probably been the consistent thing that we haven't played very well. There's been the odd game that we've played well, Spurs, Oxford, and half a game against Watford. But, for me, Mark, it's a reason to be optimistic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we should go into them with plenty of confidence. I think what's probably helps a bit is Ben Sheaffer's return back to the team. He played at Leeds, but I think he looked a little bit off the pace, but I guess that's understandable. He hasn't really featured much this season, but he had a good game yesterday, so I think he'll come back. But I think from our point of view, I think the only change I can see, as we sort of alluded to earlier, I think Sakamoto won't be playing. I think Ephron Mason-Clark will fill in, but I think the team will pretty much be unchanged, I would think. And I think that's been part of the problem. And I think the reason why we've had a pretty poor start, I guess, is because Robbins doesn't really know what his strongest team is. It's like, almost like playing rock, paper, scissors and trying to come up with 11 players who can fit into a system. And I think it's been similar to last season, where it took quite a few games for us to really get into our groove. But I won't lie. I hope it's a game where we do win. I do kind of see what Stuart's saying, that we're a little bit unpredictable at the moment, but if we play to levels we could play at, we should do pretty well this season. But I think it's been a little bit unsettling because we've lost some players. Obviously, Callum O'Hare being a notable example, who's gone to some club called Sheffield United. So yeah, I mean, I'm fairly sort of. I feel more confident now than I did at the start yesterday, because Blackburn, I thought, oh God, if we're going to lose this game, I really fear for Robbins' future. But I think to be fair, Robbins, and the players have answered the critics quite nicely. But I'll tell you what, Blackburn, for me, they were, considering they're at the top, they were absolutely awful last night. One of the worst teams I've seen come to yes.
Do you know, that can happen though in this league. You look at Sunderland; they were top of the league. Plymouth go to them. Plymouth were awful on the opening weekend, and Plymouth turned them over. We beat West Brom, and Millwall fans would say that Sheffield Wednesday were probably the worst side that they've played as well. It's happening so many times this season. It's untrue. It's funny you mentioned about like the in terms of you don't know his starting lineup. I'm just looking 20 different players have started a game for Coventry in the league so far, which, having only played 7 games, I mean, we're in a similar position as well. I were only speaking at the weekend, our kind of front 3, front 4, because obviously we were playing a kind of number 10 in the earlier games. But you look at that, and we're in a similar situation. It's probably 7 or 8 players that have started in all of those positions, and there's times where players aren't linking up as well as what they perhaps should be. There was I think the game against QPR, there was Ugbo and Windass. Ugbo's one of those players, he likes the ball to be cut back to him, get to the byline, cut in and roll the ball back, and he'll be near the penalty spot to roll it in. But Windass just whipped it in first time and he was nowhere to be seen. There was another one where he played it inside for Ugbo. Ugbo then laid it off for Windass to hit it on his left foot. Windass ain't got a left foot. He wants it on his right, and he went. He went the opposite way. And you, that's what we're getting this season. In terms of players that haven't, well, they should know each other because they played, the back end of last season together. But when it's a different person every single game, they are kind of struggling somewhat where in terms of linking up with each other. So it's interesting you say that. I think, like I said, I think gone are the days of sticking with a settled side. We don't see that anymore. Like, there's 2, 3, 4 changes every single week now, and that's now becoming the common occurrence, isn't it? Really.
Well, I think in our case, I just think we just didn't know what our strongest. We were playing that bad. I think Robin's probably sat there and probably just like drawing lots, saying, right, we're going to have that player, and you just didn't. I think we're just down to poor performance. I don't think it's just deliberately just chopping and changing. But I think what he tends to do is if we get on a roll, excuse the pun, everyone is Danny roll. We'll probably stick with the same 11. So
my apologies for that again, guys. I'm off my phone. I'm not even on the tavern Wi-Fi, so I don't know what's going on tonight.
Not good enough.
He needs to put another 50p in the meter, Stuart.
I'm going to have to, mate. My apologies. Sorry. Right, did I miss anything?
No, we're again waffling on again. So
just waffling on. Okay, that's fine. So, prediction then, guys. Mark, what's your thoughts on Saturday's game?
Well, I usually sit on the fence, I think I came off the fence with Blackburn, so I'll come off the fence again. So I'll say 2-1 Cov. I think we're a tighter game from Blackburn.
Nice. Okay, James.
I mean, I can't come on here and say that Coventry are going to win, can I?
No,
surely not. I am going to be realistic, though. Like I said, we beat West Brom at the weekend, which you probably wouldn't have expected. I mean, my optimism levels probably all hinge on what happens tonight, to be fair. However, as we record, tonight hasn't taken place. So, do you know what? I'd be happy to come away with a point. I mean, if we can win his games at home and draw your games away, you're not going to be too far off come the end of the season. And realistically speaking, I think Coventry are in a false position. I don't think you're a very slow start inside, similar to what happened last season, really. It took a few games to get going. So I don't think you're going to be there come the end of the season. So I think, if we can come away with a point, I can see it being a 1-1 draw. We haven't kept many clean sheets this season, and I don't think Saturday will be one of those. But if we can come away with a point, I'd be happy. Obviously, of course, looking to get all 3, and there's no reason why we can't. But again, I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I'm against Blackburn. I said I would be happy with a 1-0 win because we needed a clean sheet, and I still think the same. So I'm going to go 1-0 again. To Coventry at home. I just think that the home advantage will play a part in it, especially after the Blackburn game as well. I think the fans will definitely be more up for it as well.
I just want to say as well, a lot of the Wednesday fans that were there on Boxing Day said that one of the best atmospheres that they've had, all season at your place. So always. I mean, it helps when you're winning, but always singing and in fine voice. So just want to put that out there.
Thank you very much. Any further questions, Mark, to James?
No, because I'm sure he wants to watch some football soon.
I know, I'm sure he does. So we will speed this up slightly for you, James. So going to the quick fire questions then. I am making notes just so we can speak about it on the reverse fixture. So the first one is a player to look out for you guys.
I mentioned him already earlier on. Olaf Kabatske is one, the lad from the Polish second tier. He hasn't started tonight against Bristol City, but he will. I'm sure he'll be back in on Saturday. He's like I say, plays on the left hand side. He's one that a bit of an unknown, but certainly gets you on off your seat. He's not afraid to take someone on. Always wants the ball. He can play left foot, right foot as well, so he can cut in on his right. And like I mentioned earlier, came very close to scoring his first goal for the club. But he's not afraid to take it to the byline as well. He can be a little bit greedy sometimes, but I think, to be honest, in this day and age, you have to be a little bit like that to shine. But yeah, he's an obscure one to certainly look out for.
Nice. Okay, where will Cov finish?
Do you know what? I think it'll be similar to last season, really. I don't know if you'll get into the playoffs, but I think you'll probably be around 8th or 9th. Like I said earlier, I think you're in a false position at the moment. You always start off slow. I think the FA Cup hindered you somewhat last season. Maybe the focus and attention was on that rather than on the league. For obvious reasons as well, getting very close, of course. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be a similar season. I think what's going to be interesting if you stick with the gaffer or not, because he's been there a long time, and I don't know, if you do have a season where you finish 9th or 10th, whether or not people are going to think he's the man to carry you on or not.
Yeah, it is a good question, and we could debate that for another 4 hours, I think, on that one. So we'll bypass that one. But at the moment, he's turning the fans around with that win anyway. So we'll see. Where will you finish?
Mid-table is where I think we'll finish. We haven't got the squad quality to even threaten the top 6. I mean, if we get there, it'd be a minor miracle. I think we saw that in the games against Sunderland, Leeds, Millwall. We just really didn't look up for it. I know you can lose some games and still finish in the top 6. You don't have to go unbeaten, of course. But no, I think. Do you know what? If we finish 10th, 11th, 12th, if we're in the top half, I'd be happy with that. I just want a boring season. We had relegation, 4 seasons ago from the Championship. Then we had playoffs heartbreak in League One. Then we won in the playoffs. Then we was in the relegation zone all last season and survived on the final day. We haven't had a dead rubber game at the end of the season for many seasons. I want a boring season where nothing really happens. I know that sounds mad, but I had hair before we started doing before 4 or 5 seasons ago, and if you're watching, it's gone.
Excellent. One player you'd take from Coventry?
I would have said Haji Rai beforehand, but you were saying he only plays 1 in 4 games in terms of good performances. But he's one that I was just saying when you had a little tea break earlier when you disappeared off. I was just saying how he's one of the players that I've picked out to watch out for on Saturday. So yeah, he's we. As you mentioned there, 19 goals last season, however many it was. We haven't got someone like him, and we need someone that's clinical. We need someone just to punish the opposition, when they make a mistake and put those chances away, because we do create quite a bit. We just, it's a running theme that we just don't finish his chances. So yes, he would certainly be one that I would be looking to take next season.
Okay, excellent. And if you can make this a one-worded answer, it would be good. Danny Roll.
Magician.
Oh, nice. Like it. I'm surprised you didn't sing the song, to be fair.
Well, that's more than one word, so that would have broken the rules. So.
Oh, you wouldn't have done it anyway. If you can do it if you want, I'll let you break the rules.
Danny Roll, Danny Roll. You'll be hearing that on Saturday, I'm sure.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you very much, James. Apologies for my disappearing act. I'm a magician too, as well,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. If you can just let us know where we can find you and what you guys do again.
Yeah, it's the Wednesday Till I Die podcast, again, on all major podcasting platforms and YouTube, of course. Just search for the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. You can listen to us or watch us even on Sunday evening, 8 o'clock, or it's on the podcast audio platforms the day after. So yeah, we'll be talking about the game on Saturday, win, lose or draw. We'll be there.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sam.
So I'm going to do this one really, really quick. Just remember where you can find us: X or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please go and like and subscribe. We are on podcasts as well. Please rate us 5 stars. We're partnered with the Sky Blue Tavern, which is where I am today, and the Anecdote Sports Bar at the CBS Arena. And we're sponsored by Wright Steel Fabrications, who can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country, but mainly in the Coventry and Warwickshire area. On that note, I will say thank you very much, James, because we've got to do a podcast for you now.
We have.
And then you've got to go and watch the game. So I am wary of time. So thank you very much for joining. Much appreciated. Good luck for tonight. Good luck for every other game, obviously, apart from ours. So thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
All right.